Welcome. Today we're going to read Ariba, an old tale about new shoes. And this is part of the Diverse Bookfinder grant supported by the Brooks Family Foundation, Maine Humanities. From the moment Marcus put on his new shoes, he couldn't stop moving. He bounced all the way from the living room to the kitchen, circled the house 3 times and the shed 3 times more, climbed the tree in Billy's backyard, ran up and down the 19 steps to his front door, and accidentally stepped on Carlos's tail. He even jumped so high that he almost reached his father's nose. And there's no doubt that his father is the tallest in the family by far. Marcus's new shoes lit up and flashed in 2 colors. If his mother would only let him, he would wear them to bed. There wasn't a single person to whom Marcus didn't present his new shoes. He showed them off to Billy's mother, the bus driver, the ice cream man, Mr. Sampson and his annoying little dog from across the street, and just about everyone else who happened to cross his path. Just as he was running out to people to appreciate his shoes, his grandfather called, "Grandpa, listen closely to everything Marcus had to say, and then asked him, 'How do you feel in your shoes?' 'I feel great,' Marcus said. 'I can bounce, roll, and jump super high, like a superhero.' 'Ah, yes,' Grandpa replied after a short pause. 'This reminds me of a story that happened a long time ago. Would you like to hear it?' Marcus snuggled deep into his chair. He loved Grandpa's stories. Under an endless sky in a small village surrounded by high mountains, there once lived a boy named Ariba. During the day, he herded sheep, and as the long evenings darkened into night, he gazed up at the stars. For his 12th birthday, his parents gave him a pair of shoes. Not old shoes or hand-me-downs, but brand new shoes. They were sturdy, and oh boy, were they big. So big that Ariba would be able to wear them for a long, long time. After all, feet grow very fast. "These shoes will never wear out," his mother said proudly. At first, Ariba couldn't take his eyes off them. He hugged them for a very long minute, and then, overjoyed, he threw them up into the air, caught one in each hand, and walked around with his feet high in the air. Ariba decided he would wear his shoes only on Sundays and very special occasions. During the week, they lay on the mat next to the door, waiting. As it turned out, his shoes loved adventures. Once they took him to the highest peak on the Yellow Mountains. On another occasion, they helped put out a fire in the yard. I've heard they even led him to track down the village robber. And then there was that funny night when they urged him to dance at a wedding. Growing up with them was never boring, even on days when they did nothing particularly unusual together and simply gazed up at the sky. As time went by, Ariba's friends began to leave the village for the city. At first, Ariba wanted to stay, but then he got to wondering what the sky was like over there beyond the high mountains. And so one morning he put on his shoes and went on his way, taking the rugged road. When Ariba arrived in the city, there was so much to see, but the sky had become very small, and the stars seemed to have completely disappeared. Soon he forgot to ever look up. For his new home, Ariba bought a bed and a table and a chair and a new pair of shoes. And his old ones didn't seem to fit his new life, so he carefully cleaned them up and put them outside. Not long afterwards, some children spotted the shoes and recognized them at once. "These are our new neighbor's shoes. He was wearing them when he arrived. Let's leave them by his door." How surprised Ariba was when he opened that door. "Well, old friends," he said, "I see you missed me, but how on earth did you return? And what are you doing here? You know I don't have time for games like I used to." This time Ariba decided that he would discard his shoes at the train station. Surely someone will find them and take them far away, he thought. But the very same day, the inspector, who knew everything and everyone, was patrolling the train station. "Such disorder!" he cried when he saw the shoes. "Citizens can't be allowed to throw out their belongings on the platform." Upon close inspection, he recognized the shoes as Ariba's. Without a doubt, they had to be returned at once. When Ariba got home from work and found the shoes back on his doorstep, he looked around, rubbing his eyes in astonishment. "How could you have possibly gotten back here? I have no use for you anymore. And why won't you leave me be?" This time he decided to take them far beyond the park, the street, or even the train station. "There's no way they'll find their way back to me now," he thought. But a few days later, as the story goes, a woman spotted the shoes and picked them up. She asked around until someone said, "I know who these belong to. They are Ariba's shoes. We grew up together in the village. He was very fond of them and wore them every Sunday. We should return them to him." This time, when Ariba saw his old shoes, he was struck by the realization and said, "You know what? I am truly happy to see you. Let's never leave each other again." And that same night, Ariba put on his old shoes. They led him to the darkest spot in the city, where once again he looked up and finally saw the starry sky. "What a journey those shoes have been on," Marcus said, having listened and laughed along with the whole story. "I'm so happy they came back after all. I really like being with you on Sundays. We always have the most fantastic time together." The end. And that's the story of Ariba, an old tale about new shoes. Written and illustrated by Masha Manapov.